In the Spyro the Dragon games, players will find themselves doing a bunch of various different tasks. Swimming underwater, collecting some bones, going on a roller coaster, protecting this stupid skater called Nancy, and, worst of all, paying moneybags. Or will we? Yes, the discussion of this whole video is about how we can avoid paying moneybags in all kinds of different scenarios. Now, there is many reasons why we would want to do this. For starters, we're trying to save the same world he is from, yet he is using this moment as a chance to increase his bank account. Number 2, the guy is just a prick. And not only that, but in Spyro 3, he just straight up admits to be working for the sorceress, and as such, his prices are absolutely fucking ridiculous in that game. So in this video, we'll see how to avoid paying moneybags a single cent, taking strats from the speedrunners themselves, and other various easy strats that anyone could do. Okay, let's get started with Spyro 1. So in Spyro 1, it's actually pretty easy to avoid paying moneybags, since he isn't even in the game. Okay, moving on to Spyro 2. In this game, moneybags appears as early as the first level, with him needing 100 gems to activate this bridge. Now, we could pay 100 gems, or we could just double jump over the gap and into the talisman room. You see, Spyro 2 has a rather unique and unintended movement technique called the double jump. Basically, you go neutral and input the jump button shortly after the charge button. It should look something like this, and with this technique, we could skip moneybags in many different places in Spyro 2, and some of them are going to be as easy as eating cake. I think that's what people say, I don't fucking know. Anyway, after Glimmer, we have a few options of levels to head into, and moneybags is already waiting for us by a pool of water. He says that for 500 gems, he will teach us the ability to swim, which is going to be used in a lot of areas in this game, so we really need this ability. As such, unless you're like a god tier speedrunner, I recommend just buying this one. Or if you are a god tier speedrunner, you could skip getting swim by doing a double jump directed at this wall and then gliding over to enter the castle. But keep in mind, by doing this, you will not have swim for the duration of the game, and some levels really were designed to have swim. Moneybags in the same homeworld is also somehow by Aquaria Towers, and he will lower this wall for 400 gems. Now we can easily get past this by a double jump over the wall, but if you do decide to do this, the wall will not be lowered if you come out of Aquaria Towers. Because of this area is brutal. The only way I know how to get out of this area is to perform a perfect double jump and glide in a specific way to get to the top of the portal, and then you can double jump out. As such, make sure this is the last level you get the talisman for in the homeworld, so you could be teleported to Crush's entrance instead if you do decide to skip paying moneybags to lower the wall. Inside of Aquaria Towers, Moneybags wants us to spend 100 gems to use the submarine, and if you don't, sharks. We can either pay him or instead we could do a sheep proxy. Now, proxies are getting close to speedrunner bullshit tech, so I won't explain it too much, but basically a proxy is where you can get Spyro inside of an entity's hitbox, and then you can input an X press which tells the game, hey, he's trying to glide inside an object he needs ejected. As such, we can double jump over to the sheep and proxy off of it to get to the other side. Proxies are kind of annoying to learn, and they're not super consistent even at like higher levels, so don't be shocked if this takes you a few times. And to be honest, it's only 100 gems, so you could always just pay him, I guess. Either way, if you do get the proxy or you pay him and get to the end of the level, you're going to hit the button, swim over to the NPC and get the talisman. So it's the same old, same old. Do note though, that if you decide to not buy swim and be a Giga Chad, you need to hit the sheep proxy because you're not swimming through Aquaria Towers. So keep that in mind if you do decide to truly skip all of Moneybags payments. Alright, done with Hub 1 or Area 1 or whatever you want to call it, we are now going over to Hub 2, Autumn Plains. Here, Moneybags has a ton of new scams he's going to try to hit us with. For example, he's trying to get us to spend gems on learning how to climb, spend gems to open Zephyr, open the Icy Speedway portal, drop this bridge to Shady Oasis, just all kinds of garbage. But before we worry about any of that, we can enter Crystal Glacier right off the bat. Here, Moneybags wants us to spend 200 gems to drop this bridge. Okay, moving on for Zephyr and Shady Oasis, we can't really skip paying for Moneybags without doing an any percent route, which again is heading into speedrun or BS territory. For Shady Oasis, no matter where you look, the entire level is just blocked off, and without payment, Zephyr is just never going to be opened, so there's really no way of skipping these payments. So sadly, I would just recommend paying both of these. Over the Magma Cone, however, Moneybags is going to try to charge you 200 gems to use the elevator, but instead you can just get all the gems in there, head outside, and double jump over this wall and glide inside the cone instead, without any payment plan required. Now we can actually skip paying Moneybags 500 gems for climb by doing this climb skip. This involves a bunch of double jumps as seen here, where we can access the other levels in the Autumn Plains homeworld. If you're not that good at double jumps, you might just want to consider paying Moneybags since it is an ability and they're pretty useful. But if you have good double jumps, then why not try it yourself and see if you can save the extra cash. Lastly, we have Winter Tundra, where the only thing Moneybag tries to get us on are both the Headbash ability and the Canyon Speedway portal. But from here, we can actually just skip both of these requirements by fighting Ripto. So we're going to start by running over to the left side of the castle and performing some somewhat tricky double jumps on these weird polygons to get inside. This skips the need to get Headbash as we don't need to open the doors, and saves us around 1,000 gems. I don't know why it costs 1,000 gems to Headbash, but it does. From here, we're going to go all the way up to the top of the stairs and double jump over to this waterfall, and then attempt to get a swim in air by positioning Spyro close to the stream of water and pushing square. If done correctly, you'll be swimming in air, and from here you can swim over to the Ripto boss fight doors, and then just fight him out. Once you defeat Ripto, all instances of Moneybags will be erased from the game, and you'll have all areas and abilities automatically. So there were some cool Moneybag skips you could do in Spyro 2. Some of them are kind of hard, some of them are kind of easy, but if you really want to learn like a speedrun route, you can avoid paying Moneybags a single penny. Though it is kind of tough, but even as a casual player, there's a decent bit of Moneybags you can skip here, which I think is pretty cool. Okay, moving on to Spyro 3, the ways we're going to be skipping Moneybags payments is a lot tougher since the double jump mechanic was basically patched out from Spyro 2, and as such, we're going to have to be far more creative in order to skip his payments. For example, the first instance of Moneybags is for him to release Sheila the kangaroo from her cage. This is one of the 4 playable characters that he is going to be holding up during the duration of our playthrough. Now, the good news for us is that in Spyro 2 and 3, they actually just store locked levels below the portal frame out of bounds. The reason for this is quite simple. Once we actually unlock the level, only thing they have to do is change the y-axis from a really low number to a really high one instead. Because of this, if we can get underneath the portal frame, we can skip paying Moneybags altogether. So to do this, it's a little complicated, but we can get through it if you put some time into it. We're going to perform a skip by getting the tunnel egg, and then once we get the tunnel egg, we're going to go back to the Superfly power-up and start spamming X when leaving the tunnel, and we're going to try to land on this tree. From here, we're going to jump over to the grass and attempt to get another swim in air off of this small water plane. If done correctly, we'll be swimming in air and we can go out of bounds in order to play Sheila by touching the portal underneath. You can kind of see it with this mustache thing the community calls it, where it's actually the top of the portal. Just go slightly below that and you'll be in. Now when we do leave though, she'll actually still be held captive to this greedy ass bear. But since we got everything, to be honest, he can take his ransom and shove it up his ass. Onto Cloud Spires, Moneybags wants us to spend 200 gems to activate these moving platforms. Instead, we can actually kind of do this level backwards and 100% the level without paying Moneybags anything. We're going to come to the beginning of the level, go on this elevator, jump over to this terrain, and then glide over here to get to the Sunseed section. This works because portals in Spyro 3 bleed out quite a lot, so touching the wall behind the portal for some reason still takes you there, even though you're from the other side. After the Sunseed section, we can leave, get the egg, head up the Whirlwind, do this section if you want to, and from here, we're going to jump and pause as soon as possible. The reason we do this is because when we leave the section, Spyro's upward momentum that we cut off with the pause will actually still give it to us once we leave, and therefore we can glide over to this section that we're not supposed to reach yet. From here, we can do these 2 precise jumps to get over to the platforms on the other side and collect everything in this level without paying Moneybags a single cent. But honestly, Cloud Spires without paying Moneybags is possible, just a touch annoying. I still would skip him, but it's only 200 gems, so I don't know, I guess take your pick. Now into Molten Crater, Moneybags is currently holding this door shut and wants 300 gems for us to open it. Lucky for us, we can skip this, but unlucky for you guys at home, it's another proxy, which, as previously described, is not the most beginner-friendly shit. At the start of the level, we need to start charging on Faden, and once the lava pool is about off-screen, we need to perform a charging jump, and then attempt to glide. After attempting to glide, we're going to push square shortly after. This is an animation proxy, and if done right, the height you'll get is actually insane. From here, you can see the portal from the other side and just enter it this way. So, skipping Moneybags in this level is doable, but not that fun. So, for 300 gems, if you're just casually playing through, you might just want to pay him again. Moving on to the second homeworld, we have him holding Sergeant Bird hostage, but no problem. Just like with Sheila the Kangaroo, we can use a same swim in air glitch to bypass this payment too. Get to this section in the homeworld, and once out of bounds, get under the stream of water, and at the right time, attempt to perform a head bash. If done correctly, we'll be swimming in air. If you go too soon, you'll resurface to the water, and if you do it too late, you'll just straight up miss the water. But just right, and we can swim over to Sergeant Bird's base and get underneath his portal to enter it out of bounds. Moving on to Icy Peak, we want to see the ice skating show, but Moneybags won't let us see it, unless we pay him 500 gems. To skip him, head over to this ice wall without breaking it with one of the cannons. Here, we are going to be doing a few spin jumps, which is where by aiming Spyro away from the platform, you can get on top of it by basically doing a semicircle. It looks really weird, but if you do it correctly, you can shimmy Spyro to a ton of higher elevations. From here, we can jump through this wall and enter the show. Sadly though, I have no idea who said the show was good, cause for my taste, this show kinda fucking sucks. Onto Spooky Swamp, Moneybags wants us to pay 500 gems to open this big door. So let's play a quiz game! What will we do this time? Will we A, proxy over the door, B, swim in air through the door, C, go out of bounds and reach the other side somehow, or D, just go around it with one very simple jump that anyone could make? And the answer? It's D! Wow, very cool, Moneybags. You questioned payment, yet you couldn't block off this huge gap to the right of the wall. Simply charging jump over to the other side, through this gap, or even take an intentional hit from the piranhas, and either way, you're gonna skip it easy as can be. Moneybags is going to need to try harder because skipping him so far has been a piece of... Oh, we have to talk about this now. Yeah, this is going to suck. So in Evening Lake, Moneybags has had enough of us just skipping his payments and demands 1,000 gems to release the Yeti Bentley or he will starve to death. We can skip paying him yet again, but the method is, well, it's interesting, but it's also fucking hard. We're going to be using the same method as the other two playable characters, and by doing so, we're going to basically enter his level under the map. But first, to do this, we need to know what version of the game you're currently playing on. I am dead fucking serious. If you're on version 1.0, aka your disc is colored, then basically at the top of this tower, you can just jump straight through the mountains, easy as can be. If you're on version 1.1, aka greatest hits, aka non-colored disc, you're going to need to hover at an exact spot to hopefully clip in. I guess the developers realized after release that like anyone could just get out of bounds, so they need to patch it. Either way, once out of bounds, we need to turn around and attempt to fly into Bentley's level. Now this is much harder than swimming into a portal, because swimming into a portal, if you miss it, you can just, turn yourself around, swim back in, and usually you have like a mustache indication. Here, you have no indication, and not only that, but if you miss Bentley's portal, you're either going to go to Honey Speedway, die, or you could possibly soft lock your game by falling to the bottom of the pit where there's supposed to be water, and as such, you're not going to be swimming, and you ain't getting out of here without quitting the game. So, this is really brutal. I can't stress it enough. The best method for getting into this level is to go to the right of this hidden room and attempt to have Spyro's height about the same as the floor here. Once you reach this point, you're going to start turning and try to line yourself up to this 5 gem over here. And if done correctly, you should start flying into Bentley's stage. Not only can you play as Bentley, Moneybags can go back to his day job of selling crack on the streets.
Spyro, I will give you a gram for 20 gems.
Or you could soft lock and leave a dislike on this video. Whatever works. After skipping him this time, we only have 2 more encounters to worry about, and one of them is in Frozen Altars. He wants us to spend 800 gems to participate in the amazing sport of cat hockey. To skip this, we're going to proxy off of this mammoth and glide over to the right and enter the portal from kind of the side angle. Lucky for you guys at home, this proxy is actually one of the easiest ones to hit, as the mammoths have insanely huge hitboxes. So even though it might take a few tries, if you do want to get started learning how to proxy and learn some speedrun tech, these enemies are honestly some of your guys' best bets. So see if you can hit this proxy and not have to pay the stupid bear. Moving on to Charmed Ridge, Moneybags wants us to pay 600 gems to use the moving stairs. To avoid this, it's as simple as getting to this section near the beginning of the level and charge jumping to the left. For some reason, the developers just didn't add collision to this entire wall, so we can just go through it and end up passing the moving stairs by leaving the tunnel. This is one of the simplest skips during the entire playthrough, and you watching at home, you can do this skip super easy and save yourself 600 gems. Now, entering the last homeworld is a breeze, because you can basically just make a straight shot to the sorceress boss fight if you have 100 eggs, and once defeated, all of Moneybags' locations are just removed, and everything he has been locking up so far is just free. So, whether you did a few skips or none of them, once you defeat the sorceress, everything is done. So there are a few ways to skip Moneybags in Spyro 3. Most of them are way harder than Spyro 2 due to the missing double jump mechanic, but it is possible to 117% Spyro 3, which is basically full completion, without paying Moneybags a single penny. It's just very difficult. Fun fact, if you actually manage to skip Moneybags throughout the entire run, When you get to the section where you flame him to get your gems back, he'll have nothing to give you, as the game actually keeps track of how many gems the player has given Moneybags throughout the game. So the only thing you have to do is flame him once and he's done. A very cool hidden mechanic that I'm honestly surprised they even thought about, since some of the Moneybag payments are supposed to be required. And to be honest, flaming Moneybags after this long video is a better ending than I could have ever asked for. I mean, this bear has been locking up animals, Dora's abilities, all for what? What reason does this bear have for doing all this money-grudging, degenerate shit in the first place? Oh, he was just trying to get money to send his kids to college. He was scamming us so he could pay the system that was going to scam him. Man, I feel like an asshole now. Anyways, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you learned something new in these decade-old PlayStation games that I still cannot stop playing. If not, leave a dislike, I don't care. Now, if you will excuse me, I think I need to make a phone call real quick.
No, now you listen here. Okay. Do you know how hard it is to send kids to college? It is super fucking expensive. And now I have to deal with you spreading information online about how to skip my payments. Those gems are fictional to you, but to us in the Spyro realms, they could give my kids a good education. And you are ruining their future.
I'm ruining it. Really, I'm ruining their fucking education. How was I supposed to know the gems were worth fucking anything?
I didn't know is not a valid excuse.
Oh my god.
Instead of being selfish, you should have been working harder to gather the gems. There are thousands of gems on the ground. All you had to do was collect them.